25th, 2016 meeting of the Agenda Charter Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Chairwoman Conley.
Present.
Mr. Delahanty.
Here.
Mr. Moyo. Ms. Taylor.
Here.
Mr. Wilcox.
Here.
Is there anyone signed up for public forum?
Yes, there is. We have one speaker. When I call your name, please come forward to the podium. You will have 2 minutes in which to address the committee Please conclude when the buzzer sounds. Our speaker is Tom Gregory.
I'd like to speak quickly to the Office of Public Integrity. I've read enough newspaper articles to realize that one of the powers they want to vest in that office would be the power for subpoena. I'd like to remind this county legislature that under the law, under county law, and that you have the power of subpoena. And I think that there's an important area that stay vested within the county legislature and not within and outside a government agency. And my reason is very simple. Basically, it comes down to apportionment. Each one of you county legislators represent equally the members of this county. And therefore, through that, you represent us, the people, equally. And that's why the subpoena power should stay within your hands and not within the hands of any independent agency. I guess it's a way of looking at government. Do you want to say, start from the perspective, I distrust government or I trust government? I've been doing enough work with county law and sending reports over to you people and that there to know that government is rational, it's accountable, and it's transparent if you decide to read the law and be part of the legislative process. So therefore, in conclusion, I'd like to say subpoena power should stay within the county legislature. It should not be vested out to any independent agency. You are trustworthy. I trust government. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone present who has not signed up to speak at the public forum that would like to address the committee at this time? The next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. You have the September 29th, 2015 minutes before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day today. The next item on the agenda, Madam Clerk.
Referral 16-0036.
Moved by Legislator Taylor.
Second.
Seconded by Legislator Delahanty. Mr. Mishake, as the maker of this motion, would you like the opportunity to address the committee?
Doesn't stay on. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I'm happy to come before this committee tonight to speak on behalf of my referral, which would establish the Zombie Outbreak Mitigation to Build and Improve Environmental Act of 2016. This project has been important to me for quite some time. I first became aware of the problems with vacant properties just driving through my own district. Going down any street in Charlotte or Maplewood or wherever, there's a really good chance you'll find a couple of rundown houses that have been completely abandoned. But as I did more research, I realized that this is a problem that is spreading across the entire county, affecting the neighborhoods and lives of all our constituents. There are actually 3,200 vacant homes in Monroe County, so you know they can't be crowded in the city. This is a problem everywhere. A lot of these vacant properties or zombie homes happen because they have been abandoned, and in New York State, foreclosure proceedings can sometimes take up to 3 years. During this time, the properties tend to lack oversight, and so proper maintenance doesn't happen, and they fall into varying states of despair. Sometimes it's just overgrown lawns. Many other times it can be broken doors, windows, or structural damage from break-ins. Left alone, these properties have the potential to become a hotbed of criminal activity, especially if no one is keeping an eye on them. They also bring down the overall quality of life in a neighborhood because they're such an eyesore and because they have the potential to attract shady dealings. I think that as the governing body of this county, we should take a proactive role in addressing the problem and reverse the trend locally. The Zombie Act would create a countywide registry for vacant properties available to the public. If all these properties could be registered and maintained in one central location, it would be much easier for law enforcement and town municipalities to be aware of their presence, to know how long they've been vacant, and to perform routine checkups on the properties. If everyone works together on the problem, we have a higher chance of fixing it. This registry will make it easier for everyone to get involved and make sure we're doing everything we can to keep our neighborhoods safe. As I look at the specifics of the proposal, I know full well that this issue is a complex one, and there are a whole host of regulatory authorities involved, from local code enforcement to state foreclosure laws. I also recognize that we ought to look at the enforcement mechanism under this law to determine whether it is appropriate or effective for the health department to be responsible for the enforcement of this law. As I recognize there are a whole host of questions we need to answer, I would ask that the chair of this committee refer this proposal to the administration so then it can be studied and improved, and this committee receive recommendations back as to the best path forward. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Legislator Michikay. Legislator Delahanty, would you like to speak?
Yes. Thank you, Legislator Michikay, for coming before our committee and speaking on behalf of your referral. I agree with you that the trend of ignored vacant properties is a problem in many of our neighborhoods, and I think that it is our duty to our constituents to address it and make sure that we're doing it in a way that we can keep communities safe and clean. Thank you for taking the time to research the issue and taking the initiative to bring it before the legislature. I feel the problems associated with zombie properties are too important, and I would hate for us to rush into this registry without making sure we have explored all possible outcomes and solutions, or without allowing other county experts ample time to weigh in. This act is a fantastic starting point, and I move that we refer it to administration at this committee tonight for a more detailed review and a more knowledgeable perspective. Thank you.
Thank you, Legislator Delahanty. It is my intention to refer the first item on the agenda to the administration for further study. So I will do so at this time. Next item on the agenda.
Referral 16-0054, designation of official newspapers.
Moved by Legislator Delahanty, seconded by Legislator Taylor. Is there any discussion on the agenda item? Hearing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Next item on the agenda.
Referral 16-0055.
Second.
Moved by Legislator Taylor, seconded by Legislator Delahanty. Is there any discussion on the agenda item? Legislator Moyo.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Thank you. Yes. Through you, Madam Chairwoman, and to the administration, I have a number of questions about this piece of legislation, or about this referral. It references in B1 county operations. I wonder what is entailed in that definition.
Through you, Madam Chairwoman, I believe that the statement is self-explanatory, but if further details are necessary, that the intent of the director's oversight is over all county departments and contracts.
So to be clear, and again through you, Madam Chairwoman, to the administration, does that include LDCs?
Through you, Madam Chairwoman, it pertains to all county contracts.
Does it include the water authority and other authorities under the county?
It pertains to all county contracts. So where we have a contractual relationship with an entity, an outside entity, whether it be an LDC or a provider, we would have the OPI would have the authority to examine the aspects of that contract.
Brooks, you have questions?
Yeah, I do. Through you, Ms. Chairwoman, to the county administration, the powers and duties under B, which were just referenced, how would those powers and duties granted to this office be different from the powers and duties that are granted to the legislature? Would there, if I have to make it clear, I apologize. I'll try to be a little bit more specific. Are there any additional powers or duties granted under B that currently the county legislature does not possess?
Through you, Madam Chairwoman, the Director of the Office of Public Integrity would have the ability to hire and bring on additional support when necessary in the form of contracting with auditors or other professional services that they deem to be necessary to conduct a thorough investigation into the item that they're looking at. And I think that it's important to note that in differing from the power of the legislature, the OPI would not have the authority to actually investigate the legislature, which you're entitled to do that of yourself.
Through the chair to the administration, I appreciate that answer, although I would point out that I do believe the county legislature has the ability to hire professional services in conducting its business-oriented investigations that it would see fit. But I do recognize that you are absolutely correct in your answer that the Office of Public Integrity would not have the power to investigate the legislature. Thank you.
Are there any further questions? Legislator Moyo?
Through the chair and to the administration, am I reading the referral properly that the director of the Office of Public Integrity would serve at the pleasure of the county executive in that while confirmed by the legislature, could be fired by the county executive?
Through you, Madam Chairwoman, yes.
Through the chair and to the administration, was there any discussion in creating this referral that a director of OPI would be designated for a term, say 3, 5, or 7 years, to avoid the ability of any county executive to fire them at will?
Through you, Madam Chairwoman, I'm not aware of any conversation that took place with regards to establishing a term, and the referral was constructed as in a way that they serve at the pleasure of the county executive.
Similarly, through you, Madam Chairwoman, to the administration, my reading of the referral is that there is no subpoena power vested with the director of the Office of Public Integrity. Is that an accurate reading?
Through you, Madam Chairwoman, that is correct.
Similarly, again, through you, Madam Chairwoman, to the administration, was there a discussion about giving the director of OPI subpoena power to carry out their duties?
Through you, Madam Chairwoman, yes. Law is reviewing, but as of now, there does not appear to be the authority to grant subpoena power to the OPI.
Legislator Delahanty, do you have a question?
Through you, Madam Chairwoman, to the administration, does the referral that we're voting on tonight just amend the charter to create the Office of the Public Integrity?
Through you, Madam Chairwoman, that is correct.
Is there any other discussion? Legislator Moyo?
Through you, Madam Chairwoman, to the administration. I'm wondering if the administration is familiar with the national standards that have been published regarding what is in those terms called Office of Inspector General. Was the administration at all aware of those national standards that have been published?
Through you, Madam Chairwoman, could the legislator be more specific?
There are best practices that have been endorsed by the Association of Inspectors General. It was organized in 1996. There's model legislation, model guidelines that have been published online and are available to the public. I've been able to review a number of them in the past couple days, and I think within the laws of New York State and the other parts of the charter of Monroe County, I believe that there are some issues that could strengthen the proposed OPI.
Is that a question, Legislator Moyo, or?
Well, he asked me to define what I was talking about, and so I
Okay.
was doing that.
Through you, Madam Chairwoman, I'd be happy to take a look at that. As the referral stated, that this is just the initial step in creating this department, that once established, the director will come forward with recommendations as how to establish that, and I'd be more than happy to take any information that the legislator is willing to provide.
Legislator Wilcox, would you like to ask a question?
Would, thank you. Through the chair, you said once the office is established. I'm curious about that statement because I think what we're voting on tonight, and I'm looking at this, and it's a local law, and it states that there shall be, it's not may, but there shall be an Office of Public Integrity. Aren't we voting tonight? I know you answered a similar question, but I'm not sure I understood your answer. Are we voting tonight to establish this Office of Public Integrity through the chair? And I would point to A and B where under A it says there shall be an Office of Public Integrity. Under B, powers and duties, the Director of the Office of Public Integrity shall have the following powers and duties, not a may.
Through you, Madam Chairwoman, this is simply to amend the charter to establish the office, after which it would be necessary to bring forward additional referrals to provide the funding necessary to staff and provide the resources to implement.
I think I understood the answer through the chair. So we are establishing the office, we just haven't funded it yet. That's what this legislation does, correct?
Through you, Madam Chairwoman, that is correct.
Is there any other further discussion? At this time, I think we'll take a roll call vote.
Okay. Mr. Delahanty?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor? Yes. Mr. Moyo? Chairwoman Conley?
Yes.
Mr. Wilcox? No. 3-2, referral passes.
The next item on the agenda is other matters. Are there any other matters to come before the committee this evening?
With your consent, I'd just like to welcome, we have some friends in the audience. Troop 136 from East Rochester is here. They're working on their Citizenship in the Community Merit Badge, and it's great to have them here, and with your consent, and we'd like to welcome them. And thank you for joining.
Welcome. There being no other matters, the January 25th, 2016 meeting of the Agenda Charter Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting of the Agenda Charter Committee will be held on Monday, February 22nd at 5 o'clock